Hello, it's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randyrhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
Mary had a little man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
I've seen it. I've read some of it, and it's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah, I don't believe it. No, I don't believe it. And here's the other thing. You're going to have China and Japan and all of Asia and all of these other countries, addresses our country. Right now, we're at the cleanest we've ever been.
What?
And that's very important to me. But if we're clean, but every other place on earth is dirty, that's not so good. So I want clean air, I want clean water, very important.
He's such an idiot. So this is what's so scary about him is he's dumb as a rock. He is an abuser of people in power, and he is president at a pivotal moment in history where our economy is okay, and he's giving it all away and picks as his Secretary of State the chairman of ExxonMobil. And we're the cleanest we've ever been. This report makes him look ridiculous. It's like sitting there and talking to the military about border control on the Mexican border, or talking to the military about the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. I mean, this man is just dumb. He's an idiot, and he's vengeful and a bully and nasty. And these are bad things to happen. It's like a perfect storm of dreck. And we're having to live through it. He's at the midpoint right now. I just wish it were January so that the Congress would be in the hands of the Democrats, and you would have, Adam Schiff, who he called Adam Shit. Okay. He's such a monster. He really is. It's name calling and juvenile, junior high school stuff in the face of intense problems, in the face of, intense changes, regional preparedness. And they're going to all keep telling you, well, if the world doesn't clean up their stuff and we do, then somehow, they're getting away with something. And so we want to do it too. No, we need regional preparedness. We need better infrastructure. We need seawalls. We need, to protect our clean water. We need desalinization. We need all kinds of technology and innovation to meet the challenge that has already been visited upon us. Today was the first day that the campfire, or yesterday was, that the campfire was 100% contained. You've got 1,000 people missing. You don't hear the president talking about that. You got to make America rake again. You got to make them rake the floor. Because some unnamed governor told him you have to rake the forest floor. And then the president of Finland all of a sudden was the one that... he's such a terrible, terrible person. Terrible. And here we are not doing jack crap with our infrastructure obligations to meet the challenge. Nothing. We're doing nothing. Well, I don't believe it. I don't believe all the science. These people are making money. That's what they're doing. They're making money. And then, after tear gassing kids and denying science, he goes to the Deep South, to keep the it's the 1850s, to keep the 1850s alive in the Deep South. You got this crazy, crazy broad. Nobody even knows who she is. Who is this HydeSmith woman, this Cindy Hyde Smith, the one that goes around going, oh, those historically black colleges, they're pretty liberal. I don't think that we should allow them to vote on campus. I think that we should, make it harder for them to vote because they are liberal. And then wears a Confederate hat. We found photos of her over the weekend wearing a Confederate hat, and then saying to some cattle rancher that if he invited her to a public hanging, she would sit with him in the front row. I mean, this woman is bizarro world. She's just crazy. And so, I was like, well, who is she? I know that she was appointed to take the seat of the Mississippi ailing Senator Thad Cochran. Can we not have any more people named Thad? Could we instead have more Baracks and stuff? But Thad, yeah. So it turns out she was plucked out of the state Senate. She's just like a white supremacist, Miss MAGA, is who she is. It's just, it's just so sick.
I also recognize that this comment was twisted and it was turned into a weapon to be used against me.
The year's final Senate contest, a special election between Republican Cindy Hyde-Smith and Democrat Maga-Ssippi, has drawn national attention. Why? It might be because Hyde-Smith, who was appointed to replace Thad Cochran in 2017, has encountered a series of controversies on the campaign trail. These remarks set off a firestorm of criticism, including from opponent Maga-Ssippi, who is African American.
That comment that she made was very disappointing and harmful. Disappointing to millions of Mississippians of goodwill, but very harmful because it again reinforced the stereotypes that we've been trying to get away from for decades.
As the criticism grew to a national level, Hyde-Smith issued a statement with an apology and seemed reluctant to further talk about her remarks.
Have you ever been to a public hanging? What is a public hanging in your context?
We did address it yesterday. Thank you very much.
Hyde-Smith made a formal apology when asked to address her comments during a debate on November 20th.
For anyone that was offended by my comments, I certainly apologize. There was no ill will, no intent whatsoever in my statements.
She also landed in hot water over these remarks, seeming to support voter suppression. Hyde-Smith's controversies continued when pictures of her wearing a Confederate hat first posted in 2014 resurfaced. If Ssippi wins, it would make him just the third African-American senator from Mississippi and the first Democrat from the state in the Senate since 1982. Hyde-Smith currently leads Ssippi in the polls.
Go, Mississippi! Go vote tomorrow. It's a strange day to have an election, but tomorrow is the last of the Senate races. In Mississippi, it's a runoff because neither of these two, the Cindy Hyde-Smith Confederate loving, you know what her very first bill was when she was in the Mississippi State Senate? Her very first bill that she filed in 2001, Senate Bill 2604, would have renamed a stretch of highway to the title it had back in the 1930s, Jefferson Davis Memorial Highway. Yes, the president of the Confederacy needs to be honored by giving him a highway, much as the KKK adopts highways. You ever see a sign in the Deep South? It says this stretch of highway has been adopted by the Ku Klux Klan. Yeah, I've seen it too. Well, that's what she's all about. This is who she is. Please, Mississippi, modern Mississippi, you must definitely reject the old way, okay? Cindy Hyde-Smith was born into this twisted neo-Confederate world. Trump is from Queens, and he's going down to her neo-Confederate world to campaign for her today. I think if I'm correct, as we speak, he should be in Tupelo, Mississippi, and then headed to Biloxi, because he found his peeps, everybody. He found his peeps. And now he's desperately trying to keep places like Alabama and Mississippi. Well, Alabama and Mississippi. And, Alabama and Mississippi. Alabama elected, a Democrat for the first time in forever, right? Doug Jones, he won because Donald Trump was endorsing a pedophile. A guy who was accused by like 8 women of being a pedophile, while the conspiracy theorists were on their radio shows and their internet shows, and they were saying Hillary Clinton was wanting a pedophile ring out of Comet Pizza Parlor and Ping Pong. So maybe we can recreate in Mississippi. Maybe we can. By the way, I just thought I'd throw this little detail into the mix as you go and prepare to vote Mississippi tomorrow. Cindy Hyde-Smith attended a private segregation academy and sent her daughters there as well. So they were the equivalent of Fred Trump's housing units in New York City. You see how, well, Fred Trump was a Klan member. He was actually arrested as being a Klan member back in his day. But you would think that someone who was raised in a segregationist, world would want black voters to have a separate but equal senator. That might be the solution for the deep, deep South. But that is not the case. You have a choice tomorrow. And I'm telling you, what we need to do is turn out. Turn out. Now, I will say that, Reverend William Barber, you know who he is, right? The Poor People's Campaign. He and others, who else went down to Mississippi? What's his name? Cory Booker and Kamala Harris. They all went down to campaign for Maga-Ssippi, who used to be our agriculture secretary and also was a member of the House of Representatives. This woman is nobody. They just plucked her out of the Mississippi State Senate. She used to be a Dixiecrat. She was one of those, and then became a Republican, because she had to run for agriculture commissioner or some such thing. She married some cattle farmer and inherited, cattle farming. But she wanted to go home and have some babies. She wanted to learn about birthing babies. So she said to her husband, you know what I'll do? I'll move with you and we'll go down there. I'll have my babies and I'll run for agriculture commissioner because there ain't nothing to do with that job. And that's what she's been doing with her time, raising her kids, sending them to segregationist schools and wearing Confederate hats and trashing historically black colleges and saying voter suppression is a good idea. And, pretty much she likes public hangings. You need to turn out tomorrow, Miss. If Maga-Ssippi can get the black turnout up to 40%, I don't think this is asking too much. 37% of Mississippi is African American. 37%. If we could get among that 37% a 40% turnout, we'd only need like 20% of white Mississippians to vote for Ssippi, and he could win. He could. And there are a lot of people that are just the white people in Mississippi who will never vote for a black man. We should tell them that the election is on Wednesday, not tomorrow. Then they'll stay home and they won't vote. And I think a lot of people are going to miss it because it is a weird day to vote. I mean, it's the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, and a lot of people don't know, but there's been a huge turnout effort in Mississippi. Reverend Barber has gone to all the churches. You have Kamala Harris. You have a whole bunch of people went down and they worked the churches and they worked the child care centers, and they have been texting and trying to turn out the vote in Mississippi at historically black college, historical black universities and colleges. I mean, they are really working. And if we could get turnout to be depressed in the white Republican sections, and we can invigorate the African American church-going Christians and black women. Come on, black women. You did it in Alabama. Save us again in Mississippi. He's going down. He's going to do 2 rallies today. 2. That's all that's on his calendar. There's nothing on his calendar. As far as the eye can see. Listen, Thanksgiving, he had, wake up, call the military, pretend that you know anything about anything, ask them how they're doing, tell them about your border problems, tell them about your Ninth Circuit Court problems, go to a Coast Guard academy, tell them it's just like Wharton if you do what you guys do, and then go back to Mar-a-Lago by noon, watch some more TV, and charge the country club goers $100,000 to have Thanksgiving dinner, and then tweet out the very bored looking pictures. That's all that was on his schedule for that and play golf, okay? Nothing else on his schedule until today, when he's going down to Mississippi to campaign for this crazy lady who was plucked out of nowhere to run against Maga-Ssippi, who is a formidable guy who wants to talk about healthcare and wants to talk about education in Mississippi and why it's 50th in the nation in both those things. Please, please, please get yourself ready in Mississippi to vote. And if you're not in Mississippi, but you know somebody in Mississippi, text them, tell them, get them out, get them invigorated, get them energized. If we could have a high voter turnout in Mississippi 40% of the African American community shows up, we could win this. Who the hell is this woman who wants to, the Jefferson Davis Memorial Highway is her most notable piece of legislation? That picture of her in a Confederate hat, that's not old. That's from 4 years ago. She wrote on her Facebook page, the Jefferson Davis homestead in Biloxi is a must-see. Mississippi history at its best. Why? That's secessionist slavery is what that is. And she loves it. Mississippi is starting to modernize. Go vote tomorrow. The modern South is the new South. The old South is her South. The segregationist Jim Crow South. I mean, honestly, it ain't the 1850s. It's not even the 1950s. Get out there and reject this. Reject this 1850s segregationist Jim Crow, I love the Confederacy kind of politician. I mean, it's done. It's over. The South lost. We won. Get over it. Move along. Nothing to see here. But he's going to go and energize the base, which in Arabic translates to Al-Qaeda. Please vote tomorrow. Please do. Thank you, Mississippi. Well, wait. Go to RandiRhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.